How are you going to keep this balance between dealing with Europe on the one hand and with Russia, which is, well, inevitably neighbor?
I don't think that at this time and age, until Russia is behaving the way it does on our occupying line, where every day we have people that are abducted, this line is moving, it's a constant threat that is moving inside our territory and very close to Tbilisi, or the way Russia is behaving today with Ukraine, I don't think that means that we can today enter into a cooperation mode. I don't think there is any balance. We are Europe and pro-European. If the West and Europe and our American partners move to any form of discussion with Russia, that's where we need to be close, informed, in order for our principles, our objectives, our sovereignty and territorial integrity to be respected and supported and be on the table as such, as principles that have to be respected. That's the way to go.
You mentioned Russia a few times, so who is Mr. Putin for you?
Mr. Putin, there was a first Mr. Putin when I negotiated with his foreign minister the withdrawal of the Russian military bases, which was a different, probably, Putin, because at that time Russia agreed to withdraw its military bases from the territory of Georgia. I don't think that it would happen today, even if my diplomatic skills are the same. I think that we have now today, after the Georgian-Russian war of 2008, two occupied territories that Russia is claiming to be independent, and that is something that blocks all the possibilities of any immediate discussion with Russia.
But without talking to Russia, it's not possible to solve them.
It's not talking in the future, whatever happens, but this talk cannot happen by us alone. It has to be part of a general dialogue. If that happens, it has to be led and accompanied by our partners. At the time of the negotiation I had with Russia, I was, before and after each session of negotiation, referring to the European presidency and to the American embassy. And that was something that was known by my counterpart and accepted. So that's the type of clear position of Georgia. We cannot play around, and I'm not going to be the president that plays around. We need to comfort our positions, to comfort it with our partners.
What is harder, actually, to be a French diplomat or a Georgian politician?
Much difficult to be a Georgian politician. It's bigger challenges. This country is still, as I said, at the crossroads. We still need to comfort many of the things that are givens when you are a French diplomat. But this country is a marvelous challenge. It's very interesting. And the society, the population has given me yesterday such a sign of confidence that I feel very responsible, but I feel also very strong.
Are you going to give Georgian citizenship to Mikhail Saakashvili if he asks for it?
I doubt, because first of all, the suits have to be processed. It's not a question of the nationality, it's a question, first of all, of justice being done. And there is a very clear problem today with the declarations he has been making yesterday and today, calling for police and military to take sides in something that is not happening in Georgia. I think he has lost touch with his country. He's today a foreigner calling for instability in this country. And I think that everything can happen, but the one thing that this country doesn't need is more instability. The vote that was given yesterday was a vote for stability, for European future of Georgia, and that's what I'm here for.
Some people say that these elections were not about choice between you and Vashadze, but actually a choice between Ivanishvili and Saakashvili. Is that true?
Well, it was both. It was both a choice between a European former diplomat and a Soviet diplomat. And it was also a choice between the past, Saakashvili, what the 9 years were then, which were very violent for the Georgian society, and the Georgian dream led by Ivanishvili, which has brought to this country maybe many disappointments also in the society, but at least 6 years of complete stability and calm inside the country. That's what the country wants, that's what it needs, and without that we cannot join Europe, which is the ambition of more than 80% of the Georgians.
What do you think will be the hardest thing for you as a president and for the country in the next 6 years?
The hardest will be the first few weeks or months when we have to reconcile after what I mentioned was a very violent campaign. Personally, I was directly attacked. Many fake news, the Soviet type of fake news that we also know now in Europe and in the States, calling me even a Russian KGB agent, which to me was unbelievable, and then I suddenly discovered that some people could believe it. But these are the things that we have to put to the past, calm down, and start the reconciliation, which has not happened in this country over the last many years, and which the society is really striving for. So it will not be easy, because that means that we have to really try to reach out. For instance, my counterpart has not yet recognized the result of elections, which are very clear. So I hope it will happen. It will happen probably slowly, but it's something that I'm going to be devoted to.
How do you feel being the first female president of
I feel
Georgia?
great.
But this is the country which heavily relies on the image of strong men.
No, that's not a fake news, but that's a wrong idea about Georgia. Georgia's history and culture is marked by very strong women. We were Christianized by women. And then the most brilliant times in Georgian history when they were led by a woman that was called a king, because she was so strong. And that's what the image that Georgians have. So there is no ambivalence about the fact of having a woman, but I think it's a very big positive thing for Georgia in the world, because there are only, I think, 10 women presidents in the world. That Georgia is one of them, I think, is a very strong signal given to the outside world. It's a very strong signal also for the women in Georgia, and I think that I'll make most use that I can of this solidarity among women leaders that exist also in the world.
Do you think people here, and you as one of them, don't you think they're slightly tired of all those promises made by the West? Because, I mean, Georgia has applied for NATO membership more than 15 years ago. There are so many promises, but not that much is moving.
Not really. I think that Georgia has gotten, first of all, visa liberalization. That's not from NATO, but the association agreement, and they see concretely some of the translation of that in their everyday word. And they also know, although they're not in NATO, that their security, there is no alternative to a strong security than NATO. Getting close to it, Black Sea today, what we see in Ukraine, only makes Georgian population think that they need more NATO rather than less. So I don't think that they belong to the all Europeans that are disappointed with Europe. I think that they're very, on the contrary, very strongly hoping that they can get closer to Europe. And I think that their vote for me is also a symbol of that.